Excel was just a tool. I saw myself as a really good commissions analyst. I did a lot of data cleansing. I was not aware of Mr. Excel. I didn't know people could have an entire career based around a tool.
Excited. Today we're talking with Oz from Excel on Fire, has been in this game twice as long as I have. And not just that, he has been creating a career teaching Excel to many people. He's coming from Excel, I'm coming from Google Sheets, and where our Venn diagrams collide and come together is Spreadsheets. But not only that, we're also both on YouTube and we're also both teaching. We get into, I think, one of the most interesting conversations I've ever had about where people might get stuck and why they get stuck in AppScript. It's something that's been on my mind very recently. He came up with some very interesting reasons why people get stuck in AppScript. I learned a lot from this conversation, and I hope you enjoy this episode of Sheet Talking.
For 2 decades, you've been a Excel master.
I've done a whole lot of things, including I played bass for 5 years, and now, yes, I do Excel. Yeah, wow. Yeah, there was a layoff in 2008, and that kind of launched me into this direction of Excel. And I left the band that I was in at the time.
You got laid off from a
And
band?
no. I got laid off from a regular day job.
These are two
And
separate. Got it.
right. But at the time I was in a band, and left the band, had to figure out what I was going to do next. Didn't feel comfortable putting so much time into playing bass when I needed to figure out money and life.
I mean, it's a very similar story. Not a similar story. I did not play bass and I didn't get laid off. But 2008, the recession, huge problem in the world, and you dived into Excel. And in 2020, a pandemic, huge uproar and chaos around the world, and that's when I started Better Sheets. It always seems like from the ashes come a new life, right?
Yeah. And we don't always know what it's going to be.
Honestly, I was super reluctant. For 2 years, I've been running Better Sheets for 3 years. And for 2 years, I literally was like, I don't want to be the Google Sheets guy. Like, it was legitimately what I did not want written on my epitaph, as an epitaph on my grave. I kept saying this to my friends and people who were like, oh, you're doing Google Sheets now. I'm like, no. Please don't write "Here lies the Google Sheets guy" when I die. Like, I don't want that.
Wow. And you came along after all of because when there was the layoff, I didn't even have Excel on my resume.
But you
I
knew
didn't
Excel.
see the point in it.
Wait, you didn't see the point of it? Well, I mean, it's a completely different time, right? 2008 is not that different of a time. People use Excel. It's a huge business part of people's business. Why wasn't it even on your resume?
Because I was working in customer service. I had spent time as a commissions analyst. Excel was just a tool. I saw myself as a really good commissions analyst. I did a lot of data cleansing. I was not aware of Bill Jelen, also known as Mr. Excel. I didn't know people could have an entire career based around a tool. So I am one of the fortunate few today who can do that. But in 2008, no, and then I don't know when YouTube started. We definitely, I don't think we had Google at the time, or at least not in any kind of mature way. So the world was very different in 2008.
The internet world, yeah. It was very dissociative. Like, you didn't have strong internet communities. You didn't have those trails. it seems like you blazed that trail. You got on YouTube when there wasn't anyone. You got on Excel when there wasn't. Specifying Excel and excelling at Excel, people didn't necessarily do, or they did, but they, as you said, as part of their job, you're a good worker in your job, and you happen
Hmm.
to use Excel.
Right, right. And I see the trailblazers as Bill Jelen, Mike Gervin. Um, there were some websites that I eventually found that the people don't do Excel anymore.
But they
And
wrote
so
books, right?
now we,
The people that you looked up to and you saw, they were writing books. Like you could go to Barnes and Nobles and buy a book on Excel, and you're like, oh, here's
yeah,
this author. So you're like, this is the way to create and make money, right? And form a career.
but that came way later, way later. You know? I think after the layoff, people did start calling and asking me Excel questions,
Hmm.
doing little trainings for 10 people, but I still didn't see it as a career.
Right.
That still took a while.
That doesn't seem like a career. Like to everyone and anyone, the signs of a career are not like someone asking you a question, like one person asking you a question. The same thing is like, so I wanted to bring this up because I think it's hilarious, and like I think you and I are on the same wavelength about this. You're like, you've expressed on your YouTube or somewhere in your about section, you're like, you're welcome to send me questions, but they must be like short, concise, and have an example, because
Hmm.
it's so hard to get good questions and like be able to answer people, right? Like
Right.
I do get a lot of questions, but they're not in the form of like a question that I can actually answer. Um, and so
Yeah.
in your in this pre sort of ooze of career, those individual questions don't seem like they'll add up. It doesn't seem like this never seems like it's going to be a consistent thing, because is it also the case? I don't know if you found this. When someone asks you a question and you answer them, like very, very, very few people ever have another question. It's always
Okay.
different people asking different questions. Is
Yeah.
that the same?
Yeah. Yeah. Um, and that's the mess, the kinds of questions I'd get through a DM or email. Yeah, it is a question. And I can appreciate how you're describing this because, right, one person and a question does not seem to be something to build a career on.
And like I would love, okay, like this is sort of just me always like putting it out in the world and saying like this is what I want, this is what I would love to have. Is I always love seeing someone's progress. And this doesn't mean like I'm going to make money. This doesn't mean I'm going to make like upselling them in any way. It literally is just a joy. And I would absolutely love it if like I answer someone's question and then like a month later, a week later, literally the timeline doesn't matter. It could be the next day. They ask another, and they're like, okay, based on this, I did X, Y, and Z. That worked, but now I'm in this new thing. Now this could be, abused and very bad, because they're just like, I don't know all these steps, and I need to ask you all along and string you along. But I love when I can see someone's progress, when I can see like, oh, I've watched this video, this video, this video, and then I got to this fourth thing you didn't answer yet. Can you answer this? I'm like, yes, of course.
Mm,
Oh my
mm,
God.
mm.
Like,
Wow,
I
wow.
love that.
Yeah. Okay, okay. And I can see that. Now, I haven't had that experience.
Yeah, me
What
neither.
has,
I would love
huh?
it. I'm saying
Oh,
I
oh, you
would love
would love it. Oh, okay.
it.
Okay.
Yeah, like
Well,
those
I
are the
will tell you,
wonderful things.
yeah. But what I have appreciated
Mhm.
is when I've taught somebody something and they've like there was a photographer who took one of my workshops when I was back in Chicago, and to find out later that she was selling a house and using Excel to help manage a bunch of stuff around selling the house
Mhm.
and moving from Illinois to California. Wow, she took the concepts and ran with them. I love that.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, exactly. Like just a
Yeah.
little bit of like seeing people's progress, seeing that they're doing something with this knowledge, right? And it's not just a transfer of knowledge, it's like we want transformation of someone that, oh, now that I know these tools exist, can
Hmm.
I play a different tune? Okay, these are all the buttons on the not machine. Oh my God, musical instrument. These are all the
Right,
buttons.
right.
Let me go play. And it doesn't have to be like a. That's funny that your example is like, oh, someone sold their house, because that's it seems like in the grand scheme of things, someone who's like, oh, I'm selling my house and I'm happen to use Excel because I love it. I learned Excel. That seems to them like a small thing, but to us, we're like, oh my God, this is great. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yes,
had
and
a
that's the yeah, that's the empowerment. That's the word I like. Somebody's
absolutely.
empowered to use Excel to get something done in their life, something real that matters.
Absolutely. That
Yeah.
empowerment is literally like the best word for it, because it is a external thing, right? It's not us doing it. We have like transformed this person to see this in a different way, right? That's
Hmm.
great.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
And yeah, like it's so few and far between. It is those separate individual questions. And I also want to come to this point is, unfortunately, with people asking a single question, there is also this one particular fault that I fall into all the time. I want to, I almost sometimes need more context. I don't need to know, I don't need to know the whole sheet. I don't need to know
Hmm.
everything you're doing to answer most questions. But when there's like a business logic or a business sense or something you're trying to do, and you go down that path and then you get stuck, when you get stuck there, sometimes I want to answer the question so that, as if not to solve your problem, but to never have that problem in the first place.
Mm.
And
Okay.
that's hard to do
Okay.
with like back and forth. That's why I like live workshops myself. You do live workshops, right? And training as well.
Yeah, I do live training and I do have recorded courses on the LinkedIn library. And I try to, well, you might be getting into part of my underlying philosophy around training is to train people real world
Mm,
and not just show them the plumbing of XLOOKUP, but let's look at some of the gotchas, some of the weird
mhm.
things that happen in real life, the weird ways that data comes to you. Maybe you can't do a butt naked XLOOKUP right now. Maybe you've got to do something else to set yourself up to do an XLOOKUP. Or maybe you have to wrap the XLOOKUP in an if or something. Because especially since I've done so much data cleansing, um, just straight out of the box stuff doesn't work. And I want to let people know, okay, you get out there, there's going to be weird stuff. And I'm going to set you up as best I can so that you can be successful and whoop this thing and be victorious.
Right. You like to whoop crap data, right?
Hell yeah, that's right.
What did crap data ever do to you?
It has given me long hours. It has one time I paid a sales rep too much money, and then his director had to get on a conference call and say, here's what happened. Um, it's done all kinds of
Oh
things.
my God, that's crazy that you
Yeah.
overpaid someone. But that
Hmm.
is like
But only once.
never again.
Nope.
Um right, like that's an interesting take, right? That and an interesting and probably better take than most people have is like there is crap data. Like the reality is that there's crap data. The reality is you're going to encounter these errors, these problems. Let's talk about them, right? Let's deal with them
Yes.
before they happen, or understand that they will happen, and those frustrations don't have to continue. Your frustrations don't have to turn into being stuck. Is that it? Like, okay, you're
Right.
going to run into this, but like, oh, we can do these 3 things around.
Yep. 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 And I've seen a lot of times where people will either put stuff off until one day, but one day never comes.
Yeah, we
Are
feel
they
like we're going to be a
just
superhero on Monday, next Monday.
mhm, right? Yeah. Or they just completely just give up on it, you know. So I've been in the empowerment business around Excel.
You're in the empowerment business. That's great. That
Yes,
that feels good.
yes,
You
yeah, it
okay?
does.
This
They
is a
call
weird
me,
thing,
yeah.
and maybe it's hard to answer because I don't necessarily know the answer to this either. What I'm about to ask is, okay, do you teach Excel VBA, right?
No,
No, you don't
I
touch.
do have a very basic VBA course
Okay,
on LinkedIn. Um, but I don't like the mindset of coding. But anyway, let's get to your question before I go off on a
but I mean,
tangent.
you have tutorials about it. You use Excel VBA and
I've
in
used it
some.
a lot. Yeah.
I started on Excel VBA before I knew Google Sheets. This was like more than 10 years. This was like 13 years ago. I learned Excel VBA, and then I switched
hmm
to Sheets because the company I was at. I went to a new company and they had Google Sheets. So same with Google Sheets. It has app script. Um, and you just mentioned you literally just mentioned you're like, okay, when people get frustrated they and get stuck, they stop. Like I find that far more happens in code. And maybe this is to your point of the mindset. You don't like the mindset, but like, what do you think is it that makes people stop? What is, and I know this really crazy question because I don't know the answer to it. Is it like what if somebody's trying to solve something and they're going down the route of coding and then they get
hmm
frustrated, they get stuck, and then they stop. Like they weren't
hmm
stopped, they were stuck, not stopped. But like what is
Right.
it that makes people stop?
So my first thought is you mentioned coding again. So are you talking about coding or Excel? But then another part of me says it doesn't matter when stuck is stuck.
I mean,
So how do you want
I
me to
get these.
answer that?
I sort of get these questions in Google Sheets when people start to learn app script. They'll try app script in some particular way, and same with me when I was learning Excel VBA. Like I was using Excel, and I happened to have to use Excel VBA, and then get frustrated inside of that. So coding inside of sheets or spreadsheets.
hmm hmm Well, I like to address people individually.
Do you think this
And
really is like a everybody has a different reason?
yes, yes, because I've seen people who don't want to be doing Excel.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, there's one guy, the president of this startup company, he warned me that the guy who's going to be in charge of this tool that I was building, he wanted to be in sales. He wanted to stop doing data.
Mm-hmm.
So he kind of would drag his feet. I dealt with somebody who,
Hmm.
in a previous job, had an entire IT team supporting her. But now in this small boutique firm, she had to be the IT team, and she did not want to do that part. She wanted to do like Excel, write formulas, that kind of thing, but setting up processes, cleaning data, checking data quality, wanted no parts of it. Um, and then there are the people who just don't know, like the photographer that I mentioned earlier. She didn't know Excel had drop down lists or had all these complex functions and you could string formulas together and build entire tools. She loved it once she knew. so when people get stuck, it's all kind of things. But then there was the one time I saw somebody in a Starbucks, and I peeked at her computer screen because she had
Mhm.
Excel open, and I sensed maybe she could benefit from a basic formula,
Mhm.
or maybe VLOOKUP if she was up to it.
You were
So I
glancing
introduced
very
myself.
hard if you saw there.
Well, it was my guess because of the way she was dragging stuff. I couldn't
Mhm.
see detail,
That is
but
an
I
amazing
introduced
skill.
right, right. So I
Wow.
introduced myself and offered to help, and she said, "No, I get paid hourly. So the longer this takes
Right.
me, the better for me." So there was that. So
Those
I've
are some
seen,
great
and
examples.
right, and then just the sheer overwhelm. One
Mhm.
nonprofit that I tried to help, they had data on different computers, and even the data in one computer was in different files and in different folders. And I said, okay, I can help you all, but next time, you know, when I come back, please have everything at least on one computer.
Different files, different
They
folders,
never
different
did it.
computers.
Right. Because
That
they
must have been a
had
long
gotten to a
time.
point where the nonprofit had, oh, excuse me, they had gotten to a point where the nonprofit was successful,
Hmm.
and now they needed more than to tell an inspiring story and then somebody reach in their pocket and give them $100. Now they needed to start applying for $20,000 grants. Now they need data, but they weren't prepared for what it took to just get the data all in one place, all stacked up, remove the duplicates, separate any columns that needed to be separated, whatever. They just were overwhelmed by it.
Hmm.
And I showed up as a volunteer who was going to help them clean their data and get what they needed out of it. I was not there to go around from computer to computer and sweep all this stuff together in one pile.
Hmm.
So um, I stopped.
But you brought up so many good points. I
Mhm.
mean, and
Right.
these aren't like now, like looking back, I know you initially started, you're like everybody has their own thing, but I think these are some great broad general things, right? One, the first thing you said, you're like, some people just don't want to, right? It's if they come into a problem and they just don't want to. Oh, and it's not that they don't want to code and they don't want to do AppScript, they don't want to do Excel VBA. The point was they don't want to do Excel. They don't want to do Google Sheets. They don't
Right.
want spreadsheets at all.
Well,
That
data.
is such a limiting factor down the line. And yes, 100% every single moment that they get frustrated, they won't continue. They will just stop. That is a
Right.
good
Right.
point. And
Right.
then
And I feel like they are due some respect, because I don't want to change the oil in my own car. Folks would tell me how easy it is and
yeah,
how I can save my own money and how cheap the oil filter is and everything, how easy it is to
right,
change the oil filter. I don't want to do it. And I am not going to be shamed into doing it.
right.
And so when I've seen people who don't want to do Excel, but they've been saddled with it, I've got a lot of empathy for them because they're not stupid people like the guy who wanted to be in sales.
Mhm.
That's where he wanted to shine.
Right. The reluctant. So this is a little shade of difference, right? It's like someone who doesn't want spreadsheets at all, but then there's someone who's like, I don't mind working with spreadsheets, but I don't want to work. Like there's the people who are like, I don't want spreadsheets at all. Then there's like,
Mhm.
okay, I don't mind spreadsheets, but I don't want to do them. But then you brought up like, I think a more common problem, I'll call it a problem, but it might not be a problem, is hourly pay. People
Mm.
are billing per hour. There are certain departments in companies that even though their mandate might be to keep costs down and raise profits, right? They're gonna be like, well, if we somehow have 10% of the man hours that we need, that we are budgeted for, next year we're going to lose them. So like we always have to do the hours.
Mm.
And like that is an interesting part, and it's a little almost insidious, I would say. Like it's like I don't want to do it because it's going to I don't know how to explain this, because like I don't understand this either. Like maybe I do understand it because I did churn better sheets. Originally I was like, oh, I'm going to save people time. I'll give you learn these shortcuts, do this faster, do this in shorter time, save money. I did say that early on. I was down that rabbit hole. But then something happened in the last year where I was like, oh, I realized we're just going to spend time here. Like people spend 8 to 10 hours a day in spreadsheets. Even if you save them 30 seconds or 5 minutes or an hour, they're still going to spend 8 to 10 hours in spreadsheets. So let's just make this experience better instead of like faster. Because then if it's faster, then you're going to be doing more work in that 8 hours.
Well, you know, and this is something else that I've talked about and is frustrating is if I have some 8 hours of work ahead of me and I know all these shortcuts and these shortcuts saved me 5 minutes out of my 8 hours, I'm not a shortcut fan. I've seen people use them and use them well. I don't, because like one project that I had, trying to figure out how to put 14 empty rows between like a column of 2,000 values. And the person who needed the help, she threw this out in a forum and some people came back with VBA code. She didn't understand the VBA code. She didn't use it because she couldn't be responsible for it. And so I thought about how can I do this for her in a way that both she and I can understand it. And it took me 2 days to just think about the most effective way of doing that. But once I did, boom, it was easy to implement in about 10 minutes. So, keyboard shortcuts wouldn't have helped me shorten that 2 days of just thinking.
Yeah, like the good thinking time. There are some weird problems that you're like, why do you even need to do this though? Yeah, like, do you find, yeah, that's it. So it's interesting that people will get stuck and stop when literally their career and their paycheck depends on them stopping, right? That they're not going to learn to code because they want to build those hours. They have a boss who needs to build the hours. Their company needs to build the hours, but also on an individual basis, they need to build the hours, right?
Right. Well, and that was one example of somebody who said, yeah, the longer this takes me, the more hours I can build. But there's a lot of that stuff is error prone. Because there was one guy who he would get all these names, and some of them are all caps, some of them are right, some are in lowercase. And he's retyping them one at a time. He's making mistakes, having to redo stuff. And then he'll mail stuff out and it's still wrong. And now he's got a call from somebody who's agitated with him. So he benefited from me showing him the upper function, drag it down the column. He almost fell out of his chair, right? Because now there is a time saving, huge time savings, but also the increased accuracy.
Oh, 100%.
Right, right. Because man, you get like, and this was like one of so his main job was customer service and taking calls. And he was supposed to be doing this other thing like in between calls or whatever time he could find. So this was not his primary job. He did not have an hour a day to retype all of these names, um, like a solid hour. So it would take him a week to do
Right.
this. And then that created other problems. So you do need the time, um, and the increased accuracy. So that did help him.
Right. We don't think of time that way so many times, so often.
Hmm.
As you just said, something that's going to take, let's say, 2 hours. We know it's going to take 2 hours. So we're going to, put it on a calendar, but we're never going to put like 2 hours on our calendar. We're going to say, especially something that can be broken up into those little bits. You're like, okay, I'm just
Hmm.
going to spend 5 minutes a day on this for the rest of the week, see how far I get, and then I'll calculate there. But those 5 minutes includes like 10 minutes beforehand to be like, oh, where was that sheet that I need to like do that on? Then the 10, 15 minutes afterwards that you're like the context shift to the next thing. You're like, oh, and I
Right.
also have to note how many did I do in that 5 minutes.
Yep.
And so something that can take 2 hours, you will almost never do in 2 hours. It will be,
Right.
as you said, 2 weeks, and might not even be done then. And you're like, oh,
Right. And it's done, and then you ready to wrap it up and say, "Oh, damn.
but that
I just
like,
found one that's wrong, and how many others are wrong?" And what's at stake? That's a big deal. What's at stake? Um, because if it's small stakes, just move on. Big stakes, and somebody's gonna call and be mad and say, "You people did it again, and I'm sick of you." No, things have to be right.
yeah. Do you find that people, speaking of stakes, so do you find that you have some questions? You're like, why would you ever need to do this? You mentioned one, you're like the 14 rows you had to insert. I get this sometimes when I'm like, in what way do you ever need to do this? Many times people are like, how do I do this in VBA script or app script? And I go, why would you ever need to do that in VB app script? And I realize, one reason they might be asking this is because they're like, oh, I just want to learn. And here's this like example that I just happened to run into. But
Mhm.
sometimes I'm just like, just insert 14 rows. Do
Right.
you get that at all?
Well, I don't get into why do you need to do this. Um, I get into the why so that I have enough for me to go forward and help them.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes why can get into uh sensitive information, or they've got data from another source
Mm-hmm.
that this is how it showed up. Um, they've broken some data out of a PDF. I had an early problem where I had uh, got data out of a PDF, and the stuff that I needed was bold, but there was all kind of other stuff inside these cells. Now,
Wow.
how do I split out just the bold text?
Wow.
Yeah, and it's one of those things of in this world of data cleansing that I find so exciting is I had to do that one time
Mm-hmm.
in all of the years that I've been doing Excel, but it taught me. Right? I did learn about VBA because
Mm.
at the time that was about the only way to do it was with VBA.
Mm.
So kind of lost my train of thought here.
But you took this very obtuse problem that you had and it taught you
Mm,
something, right? I find
yeah,
that too, that
yeah,
someone
yeah.
is just when they ask this like crazy question and I sort of I I cringe at it in a good way. I'm like, why would you ever need to do this? And I want to know
Mhm,
the answer.
mhm.
I'm not
Right.
asking why do you want to
Ah,
do this? And I don't want to know
okay.
the answer. I'm not, and it's not like hand waving, right?
Okay, gotcha, gotcha.
That's
So we're on the same page now.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that's a good
yeah.
point. Like that.
Because yeah, Because it is fascinating, when somebody's got a header that's split across three columns or three different cells, and they need to be put together, and other stuff needs to happen around that. I find it fascinating.
Yeah. When somebody runs into a weird problem and you're like, oh,
Yeah,
I mean, the
yeah.
one that comes to my mind is, uh, and I sort of could sense what the issue is, and there is the problem was they were like, okay, I have these people using my sheet and they keep adding columns, but I don't want extra columns. They keep adding the columns, but they shouldn't be adding the columns, and I keep going into the
Mhm.
sheet and deleting the extra columns. And they're like, how can I do this programmatically? And so I was like, literally, I was like, this is crazy. You can't just like ask them. Just don't
Mhm.
add any columns.
Mhm.
Like this is a very personal, a personnel problem between people. Like just ask them, don't add columns. But then
Mhm.
I was like, well, let me actually answer this question instead of being, you know, snarky here. And I ended up figuring out how this is like a total weird thing, and this probably happens to you. I ended up actually learning what the on change does trigger.
Mhm.
So instead of it's not an on edit trigger in Sheets, it's on change. And then I like had to research what is this, and what are all of the changes that could occur that this is triggered. And I was like, oh, this is the answer. And I was like, oh, I actually learned that part of it. Now the person
Mhm.
asking me the question didn't learn that, unfortunately. Sort of I could have, been more boisterous and put it in a nice, wrapped it in a nice YouTube video and said, here's all of the things you can do with this other trigger. But like I didn't want to use this example because I was like, no one's ever gonna run into this because they're just gonna ask these people, don't add columns. What I
Right.
ended up the like exclamation point and the like happy face on this is I literally had no idea how I would ever implement this. I was like, I now know this thing. Why would I ever use this in any sense? And then I released on April Fool's Day, April 1st, I released VisiCalc inside of a Google Sheet. I built VisiCalc, and I ended up using exactly what I learned to make it so
Mhm.
you couldn't add columns. And it was like a Easter egg joke kind of thing that when you added a column, it would delete it and then give you a message out of memory. And I was like, so
Wow.
happy that like I used this super obtuse reason, like, and I learned this thing and I used it, but in a funny way.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Right. All right.
But I feel bad though because like you, okay, maybe I shouldn't feel bad. You can tell me if you feel bad about this or not. When you learn these things and you're like, okay, like I learned this and I can sort of transfer this little piece of knowledge, but it doesn't really, right? Like they get their problem solved and they move on, right? Like you you get better all the time, right?
Mhm.
Every day you're
Mhm.
getting 1%
Yeah.
better. I feel
Yeah.
bad about that sometimes. I'm like, I get a lot of questions and I get a lot of ways to like use this power, and it gets better and better and better. I'm like, oh, but like we're in the empowerment business, right? We want you to get better.
Mhm.
So like,
Right.
how do you balance that?
Well, I like being in a situation where I've dealt with a lot of different clients, uh, students, or just regular folks that ask me all kinds of questions. And yeah, some of it can be really obscure or a one-time, very specialized need. And I will think about it and see if there's some piece of it that can be useful.
Hmm.
Maybe not the whole thing, but how can you filter something and grab only the columns that you need after you've done this filter? Um, versus that guy who asked me that, he was a realtor who had all this data and had all kind of other stuff going on, but I was able to peel out those couple of things and show those in a video. Um, but yeah, if something is too wild, then no, I don't turn that into a video. But yeah, I do learn, and it may show up somewhere else that has more widespread need.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you keep it, you're like, okay, I did that. Great. Keep it, put it in the tool belt.
Mm-hmm.
I forget a lot of things though.
Mm-hmm.
There's people who ask me a
And
question and I have a video about it that I did the whole thing. I did the research, I made a video and I forgot that the answer was there. Oh my God.
right, and that's a beautiful thing though, is um I have had to refer to my own videos or a book that I wrote. And there have been times where I've gone to do a search online and then one of my own videos pops up. Oh, I did this 4 years ago.
I
Yeah,
love it.
hallelujah. So part of how I think about my YouTube channel is as a repository,
Yes.
and so that has like there's a whole bunch of ways of thinking about a YouTube channel and growing a YouTube channel and tags and stuff. But I think about it as sharing knowledge and creating a body of knowledge.
Yeah, like every video is like a volume in a not just a bookshelf, but a library. Right.
Yeah. Yep.
I so sort of something you mentioned that you said, okay, if you have an obtuse or obscure question, you'll try to figure out, that other frame for it to make it a video. And I fell into this trap myself early on where every single question, instead of answering the question and then making a video, what I would do is I would just answer the question in a video and then release that. And I
Hmm.
realized probably a little too late, like 2 years late, too late. I'm like, yeah, like that person is going to frame that problem in that way, but others aren't. So you'll see a lot of questions, a lot of videos, and a lot of videos in Better Sheets, a lot of videos on my YouTube that are like, this person asked this question, and here's the question. And
Hmm.
then people don't find it. People who are asking almost that same question, or like they use a different word, they'll use a
Yeah.
different phrase, they'll frame it in a different way. I had a friend who literally was like, I was looking for this problem. I found this video for it. You should make a video about it. I said,
Hmm.
I did make a video about it. Here's the video, and it has a different title. And they're like, oh, you should title it differently. I'm like, well, no matter what I title it, someone's going to have it wrong somewhere.
Right. Yeah. And that is a challenge that I have a lot. Is I'm showing something that I'm sure a lot of people can get use from. Now, how do I describe it? Yeah, and so it could be uh, a multi-step solution to something, or it could just be I need a drop-down list that will only show me the values that are relevant to the previous drop-down list. Ah, that's called dependent drop-downs lists. It's called cascading drop-down
Yes.
lists.
So many.
Now, what do I do so that this can be found? Because when I needed such a thing, I did not know I could use cascading drop down or dependent drop down. So I think about that a lot, and it is hard, and I don't have an answer for how to do that. I do try to put things into my video descriptions
Mhm.
that will help a search find such a thing. And I use the tags, but the title, trying to make a concise title, that's hard.
And yeah, it's also called, there's so many phrases for this, right? Double drop down, uh
Mm,
like, yeah. Or the problem, right? It's, you don't even know that the drop down or couple drop downs are the solution. You have a problem and you're searching for that
mhm.
problem where the drop down isn't even in your vocabulary, right?
Right. Right.
Um,
Right.
one way that I tried to get around this, and I think I failed terribly, by the way. Spoiler alert, I think this way fails terribly, is that I framed it in a way where like you don't know what is in the video. Like, uh, for example, I have this like idea of I just want to go through version history, like show what you can do in version history and how you can use it. But a video called, you know, some buzz like 5 ways to use spreadsheet version history is just going to be like way too long and way too, no one's going to watch that. But if I call it like
Hmm.
spreadsheet time machine, I'm like, maybe just the people who are interested in spreadsheets are going to watch this and then realize, oh, this
Uh-huh.
is about version history. And it's like this completely other word, like other phrase that just doesn't relate to the thing, but it relates it to it, but it's not like problem solution, right? And
Hmm.
again, I failed at that too.
Well, it's tough. It's tough in, with what we do
Mhm.
because, conditional formatting to find duplicates. Okay, that can be pretty straightforward. But then there's so many other things that aren't so straightforward, but they are a common need.
Right. Oh my God, there's like so many
Yeah.
words. Get duplicates, find duplicates, detect duplicates. Like there's so many words, right?
Right. And
And
there was one thing, it slipped my mind. There's something else that, oh, fuzzy matching.
yes.
It took me a while to come across that as a formal term, something that I had been doing for years. I just called it like I got to get this stuff matched up and it's not matching up right.
Non-exact matching, like it's probably better word than fuzzy matching. And then it's
Yeah,
actually a term, right?
yeah, yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, that's tough, right? And it's very in okay, so it's actually very inspiring that you still find it tough. I thought like I always think other people have figured this out or they'll have some personal path that they just take and they're just like, this is the way I do
Mm,
it. My original idea and thought was just take the words that people are asking, but I realized, again, 2 years too late, but I realized, oh, the reason they're asking me this is because they typed this into Google and they didn't find the answer. So actually their words are wrong. Their words are right for me, and because I can figure it out. But there's a vast majority of other people who are have some other phrase that they are finding the right answer and they're not
hmm.
coming to me.
Yeah.
And so
Wow.
like, okay, do I have, I kept thinking, I'm like, do I have to just create a list of synonyms and then run those through like TubeBuddy, keyword, keyword
Right,
volume checker? And
right,
I
right.
once did, okay, so I did a translator. I tried to do this sort of. I tried to create a sheet where all members, all Better Sheet members could add to it what they were searching for, and then if they didn't find anything. And then I would go in and I would translate that to the thing that they needed to know. So they would say something like I need to find the match of match of a word, but I don't want the entire word matched. Any 3 or 4 character match is fine.
Mhm,
Oh, and I would go in and I would write that's fuzzy matching. So then you would get this sort of volume of words and questions and things, and then you could easily find this translation. Um,
mhm.
Unfortunately, the word Google Translator is not a good word, not a good phrase for that, not a good title for that, because that has a whole different meaning. Google Translate, but like
Wow.
you know what that I don't know how to say it. Like translate for Google so that you find the right answers, right? Like there's got to be another word for than Google Translate.
Yeah. And then I wonder if these large language models might help in that regard. We will see.
Yeah, can they take all of the words that you might use and compile it into, oh, this is what you mean, what this is the actual intent. i'm
Hmm.
i'm doing a lot of SEO lately, and so I'm uh working with Google in search intent, and boy golly, that is hard. And I don't know how AI or large language models are doing this, but they're doing something that I find incredibly difficult. Like
Yeah.
Google you sort of have, and I don't know if you do this as well, like you find a phrase that you want to um rank for, and then you go and you see what Google has actually there, and you're like, wait, this is not the right intent, or oh, this is the intent that people have.
Mm,
Oh
mm.
my God.
But yeah, but something is, I don't do that.
Hmm.
I focus on creating a body of knowledge. Um, and being a data person, I'm mildly embarrassed to admit that I don't do a lot of data.
Right.
Um, yeah, because I could do keyword searches and stuff and get guidance on what kind of content to create or how to uh, make titles or make searchable descriptions. But I found myself distracted and playing more to an algorithm rather than helping people.
Hmm.
And it's not an either or. There is a lot in the inner join, right?
Yes.
Um, but my videos don't start off with a keyword search. And once I've done the video and uploaded it and I'm doing the tags and stuff, I don't spend a lot of time on that part.
Right.
And maybe my channel could be bigger or it would have been as big as it is faster. Uh, but I've consciously decided not to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, that's interesting, right? Is choosing that path is completely up to you, right? You're autonomous. You
Yeah,
have a pure
yeah,
autonomy here. Um,
yeah.
and originally,
And yeah.
I saw these again. I follow some SEO practices, and then I'll go and I'll look at
Mhm.
all of the low competition, high volume, and I'll look at that and then I'll go, oh my God, this is so boring. Like I just
Mm,
go, oh,
mm,
can't I just like make a funny video that's gonna like just make people enjoy spreadsheets more? Like, can't I just go off? And it's this winding path, right? I haven't found a good footing. I'm very insecure about this. I'm very much like,
mm.
I'll try this sort of as a month on, month off kind of thing. I'll go hardcore on like, okay, here's the 5 things I need to do this month. And then next month, I'm like, okay, no, I want these projects done because these are so much more fun and interesting. Like VisiCalc, like not a single person, I think, on a month-to-month basis is ever searching for VisiCalc and wants a working version of VisiCalc. Like, so
Uh,
making VisiCalc inside of a Google Sheet is not optimized for search. It is
mm,
purely
right.
optimized for joy. The people who understand this 40-year-old tech, this is 40-year-old technology. They don't even need to know what it did. Right.
Right.
So yeah,
Right.
it is for me, it's a winding path. It seems like you've um found your sort of place though.
What Yeah, and it's taken a while.
Mhm.
And when I talk with people who want to start a YouTube channel, I ask them what's their reason. Because it's different if you're trying to make significant money off of ads, uh,
Mm.
versus like professionally being known and showing that you're relevant. Um, and then there's building a body of knowledge, and that's how I think about my channel. Um, yeah, see people with 5 videos, and that's their whole channel, and it's because they want to, attract gigs. So they have 5 videos that shows, hey, I am a dynamic speaker. Hire me to speak.
Right.
They might not need a whole entire channel and keyword searches and everything. And some folks will probably hate me for saying that or tell me I'm wrong or I'm a damn fool. But I stand by it.
Yeah, I mean, it could be uh, putting a book in a library as like a video, or it could be like writing an entry in a diary. There's a lot
Yes,
of
yes.
people who do that, and they're not necessarily creating for an audience. They are, right, they're putting it
Hmm.
out in public, but it is for them to have this captured, edited version of what they did. Casey Neistat even talked about that. He was like, he talked about how thankful he was that he has this capture of what he was doing on that particular day when he was doing his daily vlog. He's like,
Yeah.
yeah, not all of them are great, not all of them are good, and sure, the fame and the views and the money is great and all, but like what he does not regret is having this captured moments, these captured entries in a diary of what he was doing that day. That and
Yeah.
people can use YouTube for that, right? I think about 7 years ago or so, I was having a conversation with someone and they had some videos on YouTube, and I was like, these are great videos. Why are they have only like 5 views? And they're like, oh, I just use YouTube for hosting. I'm like, what?
Mm,
Just video
mm,
hosting. I was like, that's not what
mm.
YouTube is. Like, and they're like, that's all I use it for. Like, okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, it'd be another thing if they were mad that didn't have a million views and the ad revenue was raking in,
Right.
but if that's their goal and that's it and they're happy, then yeah, all we can do is respect it.
Yeah, I like, and I actually do respect all of the professionals on YouTube. And I don't know if this is a real genre, but I've discovered and I've like created this genre in my own head where it's people who are they're not necessarily looking for like massive viral videos, and they're not necessarily exactly like you're doing, not necessarily tagging appropriate, like not appropriate 120%, right? They're not like figuring out the like title, the tags, the description. What they're doing is they're trying to help others be more professional in their they're showing off their profession.
Yeah.
Some of them are breaking out into popular YouTube channels, like Legal Eagle started as a channel to help people get through law school. Ali Abdal started a YouTube channel to help people get through medical school. There's City Beautiful, which is just a city planner sharing his professional viewpoint on policy, and then it turned into like a much bigger and better YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
all of the Google Sheets and all of the Excel people that I know also same. We want to sort of share our profession, our career, our work. And out of all of this, I think only one has had that like breakout, which is not even on YouTube, which is on a TikTok, Miss Excel, which totally
Ah,
went off on a new thing. And it feels like there's a set of professional blue collar YouTube channels, I would say. I don't
okay.
know what the good
Huh.
word for that is.
So how did your channel start?
Well, I had other channels before this. So I mean, I started
Oh.
so Better Sheets, the channel started, I had already built a library of videos and I was continuing to add to that. And I would just take a video that was in my library, put it on YouTube, and I didn't do it in any particular structure or any particular cadence. And that sort of
Hmm.
ruined me for a year or 2 years because I was like, I'm putting out a lot of free content and charging for this like library, and I'm not really getting the views that I thought I would get. I was not optimizing for tag titles. I was literally just taking the video and putting it on YouTube that I had already created for someone, for a member, for the membership, which is a totally a fine, just like you were saying, just a totally fine strategy if you don't care about the views and you don't care about the channel, YouTube channel, you just care about the membership. And I did that for 2 years. It was also a side project
Hmm.
at that time. Since then, I've taken a completely different strategy towards YouTube, doing more theory, sharing more outside of individual how-tos, trying to get
Hmm.
more perspective around spreadsheets in general on YouTube. And then when you get into the membership, it's much more hardcore, like tutorials, step-by-step templates, sheets. But before I had Better Sheets, I had already done a couple of YouTube channels. One was a travel channel called Travel Bites You with a friend of mine
Mm,
hosting, and I would do all the editing and everything else other than hosting. And then I also made a comedy chat, like a comedy sketch channel about food called Fork You.
mm, okay. Okay.
That was just my comedy friends. We would just make these weird, very weird videos that were like just our sketch comedy sort of thing. And it was always about food because it's
Hmm.
called Fork You.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. All right. So that was your start, your early days.
Yeah.
And so how is your philosophy or mission different today?
Um, well, so I changed. So I originally was like, oh, here's like our unique view on this thing. So travel, it was like our unique view on travel. I had worked on cruise ships for 5 years. I had this very uh weird way to travel where it wasn't like going to the top tourist destination. It was the top tourist destinations, but like something with an interesting story inside of that that's not necessarily well publicized. Um, and then with the food, it was just like a comedy first kind of thing. I had this stupid phrase, fork you with a Q, FORQ. And it was just,
Mhm.
we got to do something with this. Um, with better sheets, um, it was really a holistic view of spreadsheets. I didn't want to be a, um, oh my God, I don't know what the phrase is. I didn't want just like the question and the answer, the problem and solution. I thought that
Right.
there was a much more interesting, nuanced way to help people work in spreadsheets than just solving individual problems, and also far beyond tips and tricks. I saw and now there's, oh my God, now there's like 1,000 channels, especially on TikTok and short form on YouTube, that are these tips and tricks that aren't really tips or tricks. They're like, this is how you use Google Sheets, or this
Uh,
is how you use Excel.
uh-huh.
Like, that's not a tip. That's just how you use it. And I wanted
Uh-huh.
to go
Uh-huh.
beyond that. I wanted to get past that a little bit.
Right. And so that's how you started your Excel channel, was with that thinking?
No, when I started, it was just, oh, I'm going to take these, it was literally, I'm going to take these videos that I was already producing
Okay.
dozens of videos a week, or dozens a month, like 5 to 10 a week. So I was like, well, I just needed promotion in the, where people are searching for Google Sheets. I
Okay.
need to be there. So YouTube was just number 2 after Google, right?
Right. Okay. So that's how you started. That was your thinking when you started. And so has your fundamental mission changed?
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
When and also I was very much, and I sort of mentioned this before, it's like it's very much about like tips and tricks and trying to get you to like go faster, get through things, solving
Okay.
problems. I thought was like getting you through this thing, and we'll get through it.
Okay.
Now I see a much different approach, that it's like, let's just, and I mean, I sort of lucked out in the name Better Sheets, is
Mhm.
instead of getting through it faster, let's just make our experience better. We're going to
Mhm.
be here for 8 to 10 hours no matter what. I'm The people who are members and the people who are working in spreadsheets are people who, yes, they don't just happen to use spreadsheets. They're using spreadsheets as the core and the center of their business. They're using it to run their business instead of just forecasting originally. They're operating their business from spreadsheets, which is
Right.
sort of two sides of the same coin.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
and then there is a huge amount of, or I thought there would be a huge amount. There is a lot of people who are creating templates and creating sheets for others. This includes bosses, or even anyone who works at a company who's creating sheets for other people to use. But it also
Hmm.
includes freelancers, agencies, business owners who are like, I use this sheet and I also want to monetize this. I want to sell this as well. So there's a lot of sheet sellers as well. Not as many as I thought, but there are a lot.
Yeah, yeah, there are some. Yeah, yeah. And I started my channel. Well, it started with sriracha reviews, and there's even a really early one on how to tie a bow tie. And then I made videos that I would have as unpublished because somebody asked me about something. And so I made them a little 4-minute video with the solution
Mm.
and put that on the channel. It never was meant to be anything. But then after a while, I had so much content to where I didn't feel comfortable starting a whole new channel. So yeah, so basic helping friends with stuff. And then there was when I decided not to go back to a regular job, then I saw I need to create content to show my knowledge and that I'm relevant. And then I started teaching people. And that's when I found that a lot of people were bored with classes
Mm.
that they took. Um, the classes they took didn't prepare them for the real world. They could do basic conditional formatting or do a basic if statement, but the world wasn't that simple.
Mm.
So I started to inject some fun and real world challenges into what I do. And that has been part of my underlying philosophy moving forward and is still today.
And in addition to that, I actually just noticed something on your channel that I absolutely love, and I wanted to ask you about this. Is you you now are like, maybe you only have two. You have Excel challenges that you have Bill Jelen and you have Chandu, who's
Mhm.
really like, you've challenged them and they have to like work through something then and there. Because like I think you're inspired or
And Victor
connected to
Momo. Yep.
sorry?
Okay. Victor Momo, he's one of them. Yeah.
Okay, you have three then. Um
Yeah.
where like you're inspired by the Excel esports.
No, well, maybe
But
slightly,
like the point is that
but
like your
but
challenge, you're like, oh,
yeah,
you
go
need to
ahead.
like work through this and like understand the how, not the how of like dot dot dot, but the thinking behind it. You were like, I want
That
to
was
share
yeah,
this like inside thoughts.
right. That's the main focus, the main motivation, because there are so many things that we do, and we do it alone.
Mm-hmm.
Editing video, um,
Mm-hmm.
learning a baseline, or writing a baseline to an original song. I found myself doing that alone so much. And
Mm-hmm.
then when I would take classes, there would be the instructor and all these other bassists, and they would, it felt like do something at us, not with us or
Right.
anything empowering. Um, and I often wondered when, say, Chuck Rainey, this famous bassist who's played with Steely Dan, Aretha Franklin, he's on the Sanford and Son theme. What goes through somebody's mind when they say, okay, here is what I'm starting with, and I have to write a bass line?
Mm-hmm.
I would love that kind of thing. Um, Editing video. I've been editing video for a long time by myself. I don't see anybody else's process. And then Excel. So, how can I give to people something that I've always wanted in all these other lonely pursuits?
Mm-hmm.
Well, how about give experts a challenge that they can solve?
Mm-hmm.
Is not about tripping people up. Um, how can I bring people into the mind of I'm going to get a solution and here is why I did this step and here's why I did this other step. Oh, let me undo this one because I see that I now want to go in a different direction. I wish there was more of that kind of thing.
Yeah. And it's very hard to manage that, right? It's very hard to
Yeah, it
title
is.
it, to sit through that. It's against the YouTube algorithm, which is not
Mhm.
algorithm is like searching, but rather as you get viewer intention retention, right? An
Right.
unedited video is sort of blasphemy. And that's what sort of tripped me up too, is I
Mhm.
wanted that, and I wanted to remain raw so that, especially sort of same mindset. I saw all these edited videos and I had to pause them. When I was learning to code Ruby on Rails, there's a 4-hour course, but it took
Mhm.
me 72 hours to get through it because I was like pausing every 30 seconds to be like, okay, I got to type that out. Oh, I want to type that out. Oh, I want to type that out. And I realized, oh,
Mhm.
edited videos are great to see the whole thing, but yeah, they miss the point. And maybe people are
Yeah.
gonna cringe at this, but I don't edit videos. So in the Better Sheets membership, I don't edit videos. If you remember, you go see the entire video from start to finish. I might pause it a couple times, but like
Mhm.
it's a screen recording of the whole thing. So it's really step by step. And even the steps that are just like, oh God, what do we do here? Um, makes for a very
Mhm.
poor viewer retention in total. But the people
And
who
and
do
I
watch, I
yeah,
think,
and I don't
appreciate it.
yeah, and I don't even worry about that stuff.
Yeah.
Viewer retention and all this stuff. And there's one metric that I see only because it pops up on the screen when I look. And I'll post a video and then I'll see this metric. This video is performing fourth out
Yes.
of your top 10 after 8 hours. You know, it has me start to think, what did I do wrong? Oh, it's doing great if it's fourth or number one or something, or if it's performing eighth. You know, I don't like being in that mindset. I am sharing knowledge and empowering. So retention and all that stuff, I don't I hate that stuff because here's one thing is I know how I consume video. So let's say that there's a 7-minute video. Um, I might watch the whole 7 minutes once, but then I might be doing searches way later, and then I might watch the first 2 minutes and realize, wait a minute, I've watched this already. This is not going to help me. So I get out. So is that hurting somebody's analytics because somebody dropped off after 2 minutes? Or I know this video will help me, and it's the second half that I need to watch for a refresher. There again, I'm hurting somebody's analytics. No. And then I've watched like 6-hour Senate hearings. It'll take me 3 days to get through the 6 hours,
Yeah.
but I've watched part of it on my desktop, part of it on my laptop
Mhm.
over 3 days. Watch the whole 6 hours. Is that hurting somebody's analytics? Because they can't piece together that I got value and did watch the whole 6 hours. There's nothing to show them that. So I just leave that stuff alone. I hate it.
I also think the Senate Hearing Commission YouTube channel is not caring about the analytics. I think they're
Right, right. But
optimizing for, oh, we're a public service and we need to put this out to the public.
uh,
It really
yeah,
depends on what you optimize for, right? If you're optimizing
well,
for joy, optimizing for happiness, optimizing for, hey, if you want to come
okay,
see how you do this, come see how you do this.
right. Yeah,
You can only
yeah.
optimize for
And
one thing. And you
right,
just have to be intentional and truthful to that one thing, and everything else falls off.
and right. And I guess, you could optimize for multiple things as best you can.
Mhm.
Um, and videos have to be found somehow. So I don't discount this
Yeah.
type of talk, but I keep that as a low priority because I want to empower people. And then I also recognize that my style of video is not for everybody. Um, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So you know, and that even gets into like business stuff. when do you ignore the metrics? When do the metrics tell
Right.
you to go something against your values or suggest you do something illegal or shady or something that's not so easy to replicate?
I don't know what
Because I've
metrics you're
had,
reading.
right, because I've had, when I was writing a blog, I
Mhm,
had a few blog posts just go wild.
mhm,
And I knew why they went wild. And it was because of things that I can't do every week.
mm,
Like if I get some 6-person collaboration and a few of the 6 people have huge audiences that come in, I can't do that every week. Or I do something really uh offbeat. I can't do a steady diet of that. Like a birthday cake is great today, but you don't want to have birthday cake, breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day,
right.
or even after dinner every day. So all of those things I think about um,
Mm,
in how I approach creating content and ignoring the analytics. Or and then there are times where the analytics show something where you need to dig and not take it as face value. But what happened here
right.
um, with when I was a commissions analyst, we had some weird spikes in commissions, and the vice president of sales says, "Wait a minute, this person was among my worst salespeople last year, and now look at these numbers." So he asked, "What's going on?" And then I was able to find some correlation between purchases and a national sales exam that happened quarterly.
Mm,
Oh, but if we had started saying, "Oh my gosh, here is the turnaround award, gone from the bottom to the top. Here you go. Now here's an even a bonus," and then then it drops back down. God, okay, what's happening? Oh, here is the national exam that's coming up. People buy a whole bunch of study materials, and
mm,
after the exam, they drop off
mm.
until the next exam next quarter. So, we got to be really careful with metrics.
So interesting. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of spikes on a lot of companies whenever there's like a Kardashian tweet and they're like,
Mm,
yep. Yeah, their sales chart goes like this, boom, and then it's still going up and to the right, but there's this weird spike, and it's like you can't repeat that every week. You can't repeat that every day. You can't repeat
right,
that sometimes.
right,
Um,
right.
so like I did want to, before we leave here, I have a couple questions for you, very important questions.
Okay, very
Okay.
important. All right. Do I need to go put on a bow tie?
Yes. No, not that important.
Okay,
Uh,
okay. All right.
where do you start? A1 or B2?
Definitely not A1.
Well,
Definitely not. I might start in D5. Depends on what
whoa.
I'm doing, but you know, it depends, but definitely not A1. I don't like having this border that I have to deal with. Um, not so there's a couple of things. There's just the visual clutter I feel in that
Mm,
corner. And if I need to put something there, I already have the room to just start typing. I don't have
mhm.
to insert a column or a row.
Yeah, that's good. You need this space just for space alone padding, but also because you probably will put something there anyways. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your
You're an
favorite
A1
formula?
person? Oh, okay, okay, go ahead.
What's your
Are
favorite
you an
formula?
A1 person?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm like 50-50.
Oh, oh,
You know, okay, so sometimes the public perception makes me uh start an A1 because I realize like in a video, if I need to in a video, you don't have the entire spreadsheet as your like Canvas, you really sometimes need to like keep it within the viewport. So I know, okay, I need to start in A1. And I've started starting in A1 in videos more, but depends. It's like 50-50.
Okay. Okay. And I'm a 0-100. All right.
D5. You're a D5 kind of, which gets into the realm of like Dungeons and Dragons D5. So maybe
Oh,
that's
okay. I didn't know that. All right. So
yeah.
you had another question. What was
Yeah,
that?
what's your favorite formula
Well, formula of function.
function? Formula inside
Function.
Excel. Excel function, sorry. It's Google Sheets
Right.
formulas, Excel functions, right?
Oh, okay. All right. For me, I feel like count A
Hmm.
doesn't get much love, but that thing is a workhorse.
What do you mean it doesn't get love? Like you mean like count if gets more love than count A or count all?
Like, well, like XLOOKUP gets love, the dynamic arrays, filter, so much. Um, and you ask folks what is their favorite function, you might get some ifs or even aggregate, but count A is a workhorse. I use that
Mhm.
so much.
That's so interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Filter does get, I don't think filter gets a lot of love. It's in my top five. Filter is definitely my top five. But that's an
Okay.
interesting thing, right? Count all, you use it so much and people don't reference it enough. And I think,
Now, count all is a Google Sheets thing.
oh, sorry, count A is not count all. No, it's count A in
No,
Google Sheets too.
count A counts the non-empty cells in a range.
Right. It's the same thing in Google Sheets. I just call it like count all. Like count everything that's there, not things that are not there. I just call it
Okay.
count all for some reason, even though
Okay.
it is a
All
count A.
right.
But what does the A stand for?
I don't know. Yeah, you get me thinking about that now. I've never dug into that.
I just call it all. I literally, what other word would ever count
Okay.
automatically? Count
We had to find out.
abracadabra?
Abracadabra. Yeah.
Like,
See?
it's very magical.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, count A is my favorite function.
It's good. Yeah, and you use it a lot. Very similar reason why the if formula in Google Sheets is my favorite is that it's underappreciated. It's that thing that I just use all the time. It creates pure magic inside of Sheets. It creates sort of a fake automation that you don't have to get into coding. You can put little things inside of inside of cells and use the if function.
Hmm.
Similar idea there.
Okay.
Now, do you have any favorite tip? Like this might be not answerable, but it's okay. Like, is there an because it's a lot of your babies, right? Even though you might not go to like tips and tricks in Excel, is there something that you love expressing to people and giving them this one thing inside of Excel? Like one tip.
One thing I love and love to share all six of the joins in Power Query
Mhm.
because from day one, because this, because we kind of can get into what's beginner, intermediate, and advanced skill. But I remember when I was barely using Excel in the early days, I was saddled with every month match up these employee IDs with the names.
Mm.
That would be an outer join.
Mm.
I wish one that existed and that somebody could have shown it to me.
Mm.
Um, yes, I was a beginner, but that was painful every month. And I would have hundreds of rows of data. And I didn't know about VLOOKUP. I wish I
Mhm.
would have known that then. But right now, if I could have automated that stuff with Power Query using a join, oh my gosh, yes.
But it's interesting that it's all six joins. That's a really powerful thing is not just one exact formula that's going to like solve all of these problems. It's that it's a six of them. There are six joints. You need to know sort of each one has its own particular powers. It's almost like Captain Planet, right? Has all of the individual planeteers, right? All of the Power Rangers are a group. This group of joins have this power, but each individual power is good in each individual sort of different circumstance, but all together you need all of them so you can conquer anything.
Oh, conquer anything. Yep. And I think too about a big problem we had with some shipments that had gone out more than once and some that hadn't gone out at all. When I was working through and solving that problem, I would have loved to have had an anti-join. So that's why I love when I have an hour to focus on all six joins.
Yeah, oh my God, that is a common problem that a lot of people don't know the solution of, that I actually have to like figure out every time is, here's these two lists. What appears on what appears on one list and not the other, and what appears on one list and not the other. Yeah, like that's a powerful, if you can solve that quickly, you're going to be doing a lot of good work.
Yep. All right.
Thanks so much, Oz.
Yeah.
Make sure
that's all of that's the end of the very important questions.
Yeah, the last important question is, where should people find you? Excel on Fire on YouTube. Here we'll have a link in the description. Is there anything
my YouTube
else
channel
to push people
and
to?
Primarily LinkedIn.
And how do we'll put a link to your LinkedIn to connect with you.
Oz du Soleil.
Oz du Soleil on LinkedIn, Excel on Fire. But yeah, your channel is called Excel on Fire, but you're like, is your username or handle? Did you take Excel on Fire? Is it still like Oz du Soleil?
It might be something like Oz Data Excel. I don't remember, but yeah, I did get the personalized handle.
But 100%, if you just type in Excel on Fire, and
Fire.
also in the description, I'll put a link.
Yep.
Excel on Fire.
Yep.
Find it, enjoy it. And it's not just, and I know people are going to be coming to Better Sheets for Google Sheets. The vast majority are Google Sheets, but a lot of people are coming from Excel. And I wanted to make sure that this like sheet talking was about spreadsheets, not just Google Sheets and not just Excel. So I think a lot of people are going to come find this and need more Excel. And I also want to push people to make sure to watch those Excel challenges you have going, and you just started recently on them. I mean, even if you like Google Sheets and you work in Google Sheets, I think seeing how a professional thinks through problems is just great in any spreadsheet setting.
Yes, and any learning setting. And that's, I'm a teacher, and I've been a student of a lot of things. And I think about good teachers and disappointing teachers. And then there's the typical way of teaching. So some of my videos early on were, I'm going to show you something. Now I've shown it to you. And let me summarize what I showed you and see you in the next video. Yeah, that's common. But then I was getting bored. And then when I talk with the students who say that they've had enough boring, then it was time to really let go and have some fun and draw from my, experience studying improv at Second City. And, we all watch movies. And so, I start adding music in and transitions and twists. So just having fun.
Hey, thanks for watching that video. Watch here for all the episodes of Sheet Talking here on YouTube. And over here, watch the latest video from Better Sheets. Enjoy. Thanks for watching.